Hey everyone, TimaeuSS here, and welcome to the first TimaeuSS Cup for Honkai Star Rail, where we turned the PvE Memory Chaos into a PvP mode game by pitting two teams against each other and see who can clear the fastest. Well, Team 1 we have Poke and Soyu, very well-known players, and Poke is also a content creator. And Team 2 we have Sora and Moss Schuster. These players will be competing through a ban and pick phase by banning units and Lycons and then picking up 8 units each to determine what their teams will be and see who can clear the Memory of Chaos 10 the fastest. Now, the current rules are we get 2 character bans each from each team, so that's 4 total, along with 2 cone bans. So those are the rules at the moment, and you also are able to pick up Nocha as well as Yukon, and those units cannot be banned and both teams can pick them up once. And for this tournament, I would like to thank our sponsors, the Stellaron Hunters, for making this happen. The winning team will get $700, the losing team gets $300 for a grand total of $1,000 prize pool. Now, Stellaron Hunters, as you know, version 1.2 will have both Blade as well as Kafka. Blade, a very strong self-sustaining unit, plus Kafka, the damage over time machine. And also, just look at that design. So as always, let's get into the ban and pick phase. Alright, so here we are with the ban and pick phase. We got Grimro here with me, the very experienced player and 3 crafter, and we're gonna take a look at the bans and picks coming out from both teams. Now, Team 1 has the pick advantage, and let's see what they are banning first. And it is Sele. So I don't think there's any doubt about this tier 0 unit being banned. Bruno, any thoughts regarding?
Absolutely. Yeah, Sele is, of course, an excellent ban there. Being one of the top damage dealers in the game, she absolutely had to go. And it also knocks out a pretty big carry target for a lot of the supports on the roster right now as well. So it definitely makes sense, and it's going to definitely lower the power level of the overall damage dealers available to both teams, I think, here.
Yeah, for sure. And Team 2 decides to ban Clara. Interesting choice. I thought it would be Jing Yuan, but Clara, are they trying to eliminate a physical possibility, or is this a Luocha angle?
I definitely think it's probably a Luocha angle here, because we definitely see Clara and Luocha combined to kind of form the indomitable fortress of invincibility here. So it definitely makes sense to take that out. And we've even seen Clara do some pretty crazy duo runs with just her and Luocha, so it definitely makes sense.
Indeed. And Team 1 moves forward before dawn, so eliminating that Jingyuan power just with his cone being banned.
Definitely a very good strategic option there. Essentially taking Jingyuan out without having to even ban him.
And Team 2 goes with In the Night, so Sele's cone. Is that to limit Yang King?
Well, I think it actually hits a lot of the hunt characters, just lowering the overall power level of them, like Yangqing, Danheng, Su Shang. They would all have pretty good uses of that light cone. So definitely makes sense to take that one out as well.
For sure. And Team 1 returns with a Silver Wolf ban. Oh, another, I believe, tier 0.
Absolutely. That's definitely going to limit a lot of the team compositions on offer here, and definitely is going to make things a little bit harder for sure, especially with the current Memory of Chaos buff.
Team 2, March 7th. Interesting. I thought they would ban another powerhouse, but March 7th, in this iteration, because Luocha cannot be banned and can be picked by both teams, so I guess the Clara and the March 7th ban is to kind of stop that from happening.
That is very interesting. Not the ban I would have picked myself, but maybe they've got some plans up their sleeve to lay out some very strong picks with the supports like Bronya or Tingyun, and they didn't want to ban one of those.
So picking up from the Team 2 ban, they started with the first pick, which is Welt.
Wow, not going for that Jing Yuan and then ban a damaging character there. Well, Welt is imaginary, and a lot of the enemies are weak against imaginary, so that does make sense.
True, the second half is definitely more imaginary focused. Oh, Jingyuan and Bronya coming up from Team 1 because they didn't get first pick, which means they get 2 picks after the second team, which is very interesting dual combination coming out.
Absolutely. I think that makes a lot of sense. QingQue is very strong, but he does have some downsides when it comes to crowd control, and Bronya can immediately fix those with her D-spell and her advanced forward. So that's a really good pair to pick up there. Very smart.
Yes, and even with the Before Dawn ban, it's looking quite strong. And Team 2 snatches Team Green, I guess, to stop from Team 1 from stealing all the good supports.
Yep, Tingyun definitely feels like a good option. She's going to buff up whoever they get their hands on for the damage dealers. Wondering if she'll go with the wealth though.
Pela is Team 1's other pick, so very good dispel and another strong support for the team. And Team 2 picks up QingQue. Oh, are we gonna see?
My goodness! Oh wow!
Is this
that
gonna be
unexpected?
QingQue decimate the first half of a Mach 10? All right. Yeah,
I think
Asta
that's definitely very surprising. Still recovering from that QingQue pick there, but Asta does make a lot of sense as well there, though. So they got Bronya and Asta.
Yeah, Team 1 and has Pela as well, stealing all of the good supports. Team 2 goes with Dang Han, a character that we did not expect. I wonder if then the play is to kind of block the damage dealers for Team 1 at this point, because they've stolen all the supports and Team 1 doesn't have a lot of choices. Who is going to be pushing out the damage alongside Jingyuan?
Well, the Dan Hang and Weld combo for Team 2 is actually a pretty popular one because you can activate that Weld talent so frequently with the Dan Hang slow.
When Team 1 picks up Bailu, very good sustain, needs that survivability.
Absolutely.
And Team 2 returns with Sushan. So I think they're going with the strategy of blocking Team 1 from getting essentially the matching weakness breaks, as Danghan blocks the wind and Sushan blocks any more physical.
They definitely have a lot of damage dealers that they're going to have to fit onto their roster though, so that's definitely going to be a lot of double damage comps.
Yeah, and T1 just doubles down on the survivability, picking up Gifford. If Team 2 doesn't pick up another healer, I don't know how they're going to survive with just Lucha on one side.
I grabbed that Natasha though. Definitely a good pickup there.
Yes. So is Natasha enough to survive the first half? Because I'm assuming Lucha goes to the second half.
They still could pick up a fireman character potentially.
Oh, but Team 1 steals that with the Trailblazer physical version. Oh, so the Sushan and the Dang Heng picks, I guess, did block the Team 1 from picking up any super strong damage dealers, and they're forced to go with Trailblazer physical.
Definitely some pretty aggressive picks here, trying to mess with the other team.
And Team 2 goes with Lucha. So they've been saving the picks, the Lucha picks, because it cannot be banned again, both picked up by both teams, so they're just saving for last. And we see both teams picking up Lucha.
That definitely makes sense.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on Lucha for this Mach 10?
Absolutely incredible. He's got the imaginary break, and he can solo sustain either side the teams decide to put him on without using a single skill point if he's built correctly.
Yeah, absolutely busted. And the last pick coming out from Team 2 is the Yukon, another buffer and imaginary.
Definitely makes a lot of sense with the amount of damage dealers on their team, because they've got pretty much double damage comps on both sides, so Yukon makes a whole bunch of sense there.
Alright, so we're going to jump right into the battles, and before we transition, or as we transition, what are your thoughts? Who do you think has the advantage?
Well, I would say that Team 1 definitely has the more traditional teams with the kind of hyper carry setups with the way higher support count on their teams there, and a better defensive profile as well. But Team 2 definitely have a lot of spice. They have so many damage dealers. It's going to be interesting to see if that gives them the edge in being able to clear faster, or if they have some survivability issues, because they don't really have too many defensive units.
Yeah, it looks like a high risk, high reward attempt that they're going to take. So let's take a look at how these 16 units will be arranged to form 4 different teams to tackle the Memory of Chaos 10. Welt with Mr. Poki and Soyu is actually going to be called Team 1 moving forward, as they are going to go first in the Memory Chaos trial. So first coming up is Soyu for the first half of Memory Chaos 10.
Soyu's team is all about QingQue. She'll be bringing all the damage, while Tinyun's there to support her. Dan Hang's here just to generate SP that QingQue so desperately wants, and we've got Natasha as a risky solo heal pick for this team.
All right, and we're going to the first half where Soyu, and you can see we're popping all of the buffs. Tingyun is going to be at max energy actually for this, and you can see we're starting out with the Tingyun ult, and the QQ is going to be dealing out a lot of damage. Interestingly, this is going to be a level 40 Dang Hum, basically just for skill points generation and survival. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, absolutely. QQ just needs those skill points here, especially to get that skill activated and minimize the RNG factor here. But so far, he's gotten incredibly lucky and got down that first cycle in just 0 time there.
Yeah, that was a very fast clear. I know that the team banned the Sele, and we might actually see a super hyper carry from QQ, replacing Siri the Quantum. Look at me now, I'm the carry. Well, here we go with the second wave. I know the automaton can be very annoying with the attack disabling the team, but I think we're making good progress here. Dang Han again giving out the breaks across all of the enemy units, and that break actually matters because for QQ, she is on the erudition cone for Himeko, so that break will allow her to do some extra damage. Now, what do you see as the issue with this comp? What can stop this run in its track?
Well, absolutely. The problem that would be coming in is defense. If Natasha can't keep everyone alive, it's a pretty risky situation. So coming up here, when the two elites spawn, we're going to see a pretty tight healing clock here. So is he going to be able to keep everyone alive? That's question number one. The question number two is he going to have enough skill points to allow QQ to use that enhanced basic attack every single time? If he misses one of the turns with those enhanced basic attacks, his time is going to be a lot longer. So it's really going to come down to these skill points.
For sure, and we see that we're now in the third part with the two elites, and the QQ is holding the ultimate still, not using it. I wonder what's going on, and of course Natasha is keeping up the heals. Oh, it's gonna get very close. She is holding her ultimate as well. Dude, why do you think that is the case?
If I had to guess, it's likely that they're holding that ultimate for when they finally do get unlucky and run out of skill points so they can use it to keep getting enhanced basic attacks as a bit of a hedge for their RNG.
For sure, but this QQ has been extremely lucky in outputting insane amounts of damage, and I think here we're gonna see Ting give QQ the buff, even though she is going to be at max energy still.
Absolutely, but if they keep getting lucky, it just doesn't matter because QQ hits that hard with the enhanced basics here.
For sure, and here we see... Oh.
And again!
Oh my god, that is over 100,000 damage coming out from one single rotation.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, Tingyun goes so low here, but we have the Natasha ultimate.
Oh, that's very close. I think if Tingyun falls, this run would might as well end here. Okay, so it's exactly as you said. We're at 0 skill points, and Tingyun has the ultimate as backup, and she is able to follow up with 3 essentially attacks from one single turn.
There it is, a massive hit. The robot goes down. It looks like, can they get the last enhanced basic though? QQ needs one more enhanced basic. Are they going to get lucky enough to finish off this enemy here?
For sure, and we see Dang Han just being the SP machine, not using any ultimate, and the QQ, oh, she gets it!
She gets it, oh my gosh. Whew.
And that is a 4 cycle clear coming out from the first half of Team 1 with Soyu.
Moose team is a traditional Jingyuan hyper carry team, so Jing is going to be doing all the damage. He's got Bronya and Asta for support, really maximizing Jing's speed, and Bailu as a solo healer who should be able to get the job done. This team is very skill point hungry though.
Alright, and let's take a look at Team 2. So this is the Jingyuan team plus Bailu, so should be very safe. We're going in with all of the buffs, and here we are starting out with Asta. So do you think this team can achieve a 4 cycle clear or anything near that?
It's going to be pretty hard, but one thing they absolutely need is to get a 0 cycle here. We've got the Lightning Lord coming up, so it's going to be a big question. Are they going to get the 0 cycle on wave 1 here?
A 10 stack Lightning Lord does seem to do the job, and we get a 0 cycle clear. Now, Jingyuan is not on his Lycone because it was banned. How much do you think that would cost his offensive capabilities?
Well, absolutely quite some massive amount, I would say. The light cone is insane for Jing1, so without it, he's going to be clearing a lot slower here. But he does have two excellent supports on his team. But the big thing to watch here is the skill points, because they can't use Bronya and Asta and Jing1's skill every single turn. So it's going to be hard to understand who's going to use their skill and when. So pay close attention to that. And if they need any healing, Bailu's going to have to take another one of those skill points away.
For sure, and the crazy part is we do know that Bronya is E1 and also on her light cone, but Asta is also on Bronya's light cone. So with these, I think the skill point recovery is going to be quite RNG based, but if they do get it, of course, it's going to be very, very good. We can see Lightning Lord has been getting that 10 stack all the time. He does get debuffed, but instantly dispelled by the Bronya push.
Absolutely, that was a huge play there. Without that, G1 would definitely be subject to some pretty heavy RNG from that crowd control, and it's going to really come down to whether or not they can have that skill available in the second half if G1 does get crowd controlled as well. But the Lightning Lord definitely doesn't have optimal timing here. He is going a little bit slow, so we're waiting for that ultimate to hopefully come back up for Jing.
For sure, and we can see the player kind of thinking a lot. I'm gonna assume that, you know, depending on his thoughts regarding the skill point usage, it's quite skill point heavy, this team composition, like you said. But Lightning Lord is back to 10 stacks, and we're gonna see the damage coming out. Ooh! We do make a little jump cut because this run does go on quite a bit, so we're now in the third wave, and Jing Yuan has managed to take out the second wave, and we're looking at a pretty decent clear time. We are about 5 cycles in, so we are 1 cycle behind. But do you think we can still snag a 5 cycle or maybe 6 cycle clear?
Well, 5 cycles doesn't look too likely, seeing as we are about to go into 6 cycles now, so they're going to be looking at a 6 cycle clear here, and it's all going to be depending on how close the Lightning Lord is going to be able to get to killing that last monster there on the left. Now, fortunately, there's a ton of adds up, and killing those adds is going to give you a massive damage amplification, so I think we should be looking at a 6 cycle clear here, all coming down to this Lightning Lord.
For sure, and Bronya almost falling here as well, but Bailu has got her covered. So 8 stack Lightning Lord is going to come down. I wonder how close it will be. Let's take a look. Oh, Bronya gets a push as well, so that is going to be a 10 full cycle Lightning Lord with all the buffs applied.
Oh, just short, but can Asta and Bailu finish it off? Oh, she can.
Alright, so that is a 6 cycle clear coming out from the first half of Team 2.
Poke's team is a double damage setup, with Welt being the focus. Su Shang will use her skill whenever the enemy is broken, and thanks to E1, she'll get it for free, making the skill points work. Yukong's here to give extra damage and boost up Welt even more, and Luocha is the man for the solo healing, which hopefully pulls out a win.
Alright, we're going to the second half of Team 1 with Mr. Poke. All the buffs are up, and they have the lead at the moment. Do you think they are going to be able to keep up?
Well, it's all about getting this down quick. So again, we're looking for that 0 cycle clear here, and whether or not they can pull out the stops. So Su Shang's definitely putting in work here, but Welt being E0 is definitely going to be a little bit lower on damage than some of the other damaging characters we've seen so far. Whoa, oh, no crit from Yukong, so it's not going to be a 0 cycler.
Oh, that was so close. If Yukong got that crit, even with her crit buff, that definitely is going to be a clear. Now, Luocha, as we can see, is very, very good into this half of the Memory Chaos, because at this spell, those units will not be reviving.
Absolutely, so that is a massive time saver there. Very much going to make it a lot easier. But it's all going to come down to whether or not they can do enough damage to get this done quickly. What are your predictions on this DPS Welt?
I don't know. When they first picked Welt, I thought this was going to be an E2, E4 Welt coming out, but it's an E0 Welt. So Mr. Poke definitely is cooking some goo. But this Su Shan, again, their approach in the draft was to have the Su Shan, have the Dang Heng, basically blocking the other team from picking some core DPS choices. And now we can see they're running Su Shan as well as the previously half with the Dang Heng as kind of the supporting cast. But I think this Su Shan is putting work.
Everyone on the team is doing a little bit of damage. Yukong, Sushang, Wealth, and even Luocha is doing some good damage thanks to Yukong's buff. So we could definitely see a pretty strong clear here if things go the way Mr. Poke wants. But Wealth is going very low here.
Yeah, very, very dangerous. Oh, Luocha didn't have the passive up, but I think... Oh, look, the heal coming out from Luocha's field is absolutely insane. What a crazy character.
Absolutely, and Sushang, with all her attacks, is definitely taking good advantage of that. And the skill point economy is going very nicely thanks to E1 Sushang and all that imaginary break. She's never having to pay for her skill.
Yeah, crazy. Now, we get to see how Kafka performs, but I think with the imaginary team, pushing Kafka back is definitely very, very important because we didn't get to see the Indomitable or the crowd control ability coming out that early. But here we go, well controlled, but instantly dispelled by Luocha.
Absolutely, and Luocha getting his field up here again. Looks like Kafka's already at half life, but those cycles are ticking away quickly.
For sure, and well has the ultimate up again. He's saving it, I guess, for another push after Kafka's turn to maximize it. Oh, everyone's falling low one more time, but the field is up. We get to see how strong the heal is coming out.
Absolutely, Luocha is doing a great job of solo sustaining here, and Yukong has that ultimate up almost, so we're going to be seeing a big combo here coming up if he can land Yukong's ultimate on his two damaging characters.
Oh, and a nice crit from Sushan into another crit, 40k from Yukon. Who's the real DPS now? So that was a 7 cycle clear coming out from the second half of Team 1 with Mr. Poke.
Sora's team is very defensive, with physical main character being their main damage. Pella's there for support and Ice Break on this stage. They'll also be able to rip off buffs and provide a bit of defense shred. But with the double defensive setup, the question is going to be whether or not they can deal enough damage in time to get the fast clears.
And we're looking at the last run, Team 2 with the second half from Sora. So he needs a 5 cycle or less. 5 cycle to tie and 4 cycle or less to win.
That's gonna really come down to getting a 0 cycle that really needs it here. Otherwise, it's gonna be a tough ask to get Kafka down in time. But looks like he is gonna get that 0 cycle, absolutely.
I cannot believe I'm seeing the physical MC putting so much damage. This is an E6, of course, because it's a free unit they can max. We are allowed this E6 free unit to essentially be run alongside the E6 SR units or 4-star units. But again, we see Luocha putting so much work, and the physical MC along with Pela looks like is going to output an insane amount of damage.
Absolutely, but really they do have a little bit less damage than our other Team 2 we saw here. Only physical main character dealing most of the damage here, but that damage is enormous. That was a huge critical strike there on the ultimate.
From a 23 to a 30k, that's 50k from one turn, just the physical MC putting in work. Now, the biggest question is, male or female MC?
That is definitely a question for their ages, but we got male MC here. Do you reckon they're doing more damage because of that?
More aggressive, potentially. But now, survival side, they have no problem. Gepard is holding his ultimate, and of course, Luocha is going to be outputting any emergency heal needed just from the passive. So I'm going to imagine that there is no skill point issues, and physical MC critting for 33k per pop.
That's definitely pretty good considering how quickly they're getting that ultimate back here. But it is going to come down to the clock. Whether they can get this done in that 5 cycles or less, as you mentioned, it's going to be a close call here. But they certainly have survivability, no worries. So they shouldn't have to spend skill points on healing up. So it can all go to Pela and physical main character.
For sure, and Gepard still has not needed to use the shield at all. Oh, and it's Geppy that got the Indomitable debuff, and the Pela is free to go.
That is quite unlucky though to get that right when he has the ultimate there. He wanted to use that most likely right there to save a few skill points and get those shields up. But it looks like it's not going to be too much of an issue there. Oh, an automatic cleanse as well, saving that skill point and getting Japard out.
For sure, and Japard is now falling very low, but does have the revive, of course, and is able to get the shield out for the team.
Absolutely, but damage is definitely not looking the fastest here. So we're going to have some big ultimates from physical main character here to get Kafka down. And he still does have all of the adds alive. So the damage that's going to be coming in is going to be pretty big here, unless he takes those adds out.
For sure, and 44,000. This physical MC is putting a lot of work, and we see the revive coming out from Gepi already. And is Locha gonna ult? Yes, he is, and that's just down to 2 ats plus Kafka.
Yep, so it's going to be a race against time here to get this done if they want to pull out the win. That's a nice big physical break there, but it's going to really come down to whether or not they can get that last 50% life done, and they don't have many cycles to get it there. What do you think? Is it going to be close?
I think they've done the best they can, and I think it will be rather close. I think they're already on 4 or 5 cycles, so they just need to edge out that damage. And you can see Kafka is going on the main MC, so he is getting that full charge. Didn't manage to crit, I don't think, or the debuff wasn't on, so only 25,000 versus the usual 33 or 45,000 from the main physical MC.
It was so close. I think that was just the 5th cycles that went there. So they were a mere 15% life away from tying the score up here, but not quite.
So that was a 6th cycle run coming out from Team 2, the second half, Sora. But honestly, fantastic showing because we got to see what the physical MC can do. And there we have it, folks. We have the winners of our very first TimaeuSS Cup, the Memory Chaos PvP side of things. And congratulations to Soyu as well as Poke for winning this. Well deserved, well deserved. Definitely a more high risk, high reward strategy, and it for sure paid off, even though it was very close. Just 1 cycle difference between Team 1 and Team 2. And let me know if you do like these type of content, because we'll be doing more as more units are being added to the game, because yeah, we'd like to showcase some of the strategies, the defensive side of things versus, of course, the offensive side of things. And having those meta units banned means that you will be able to see some team compositions that may or may not surprise you. And yes, it's all in good fun, and I do look forward to our next one, which will feature, of course, Kafka and Blade, who are the sponsors of this video. Anyhow, it's TimaeuSS here. Let me know in the comments if you have enjoyed this, and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye now.